Hi, this is Tara at the Paper Snob. Welcome to my channel. Today we are going to be working on Mixed Media Mayhem. This is a hot put on over on Facebook by Galaxy Girl Creations, and we each get to use this beautiful inspiration layout as our inspiration to create a mixed media layout. I have chosen some Vicki Boutin Wildflower and Honey papers, so this will also be a leftovers to layouts layout as well. Have my Vicki Boutin foundations. I have a full sheet of the Wildflowers and Honeys paper, the stickers, and some cut aparts, and some scraps, because these were all scraps from a previous layout that I have done. This tag is one that I cut with my Cameo, and I'm going to use it as a pattern for the tags on this layout. This layout has 3 tags. I'll be adding in some twine and definitely some inking and other things as well. So I'm going to stop the camera, get some things prepped, and then I am going to speed it up and we're going to get started with that mixed media. I'll be right back. So to start with, I'm going to smush some Rustic Wilderness Distress Oxide onto some packaging, add some water, and then I am going to lightly pat it around all 4 edges of this white cardstock. I am using the Vicki Boutin Foundations cardstock for this layout. I know that I said that I also like to use the Joann's paper, but I knew that I was going to be adding a little bit more water, so I thought I would play with the foundations. And I have plenty now because I stocked up on it not too long ago. So I am going to use a baby wipe to clean off my glass mat a little bit before I continue on. It isn't really that necessary, but it was making kind of a mess, and I didn't want to get too much on the back of my cardstock because I tend to lay my layouts on other things to dry, and if it's got wet ink on the back of it, it might mess up something else. Now for the center piece, I'm going to do just pretty much the same thing, except for instead of blotting it, I'm going to actually put pressure on it and get more of the ink down at a time. And next, I'm going to go ahead and do my stenciling, and I'm going to use the same color of ink. And I didn't have a number stencil, so I am using this X's and O's Vicki Boutin stencil that I have said multiple times that I love so much. This layout is about my kitty cat, and yes, I'm a crazy cat lady. Never thought I'd hear myself say that, but it's true. And this layout is about my kitty. I had printed a picture for another project and it didn't get used. I had used all the other pictures of him but this one, so figured since I printed it, I might as well get it onto a layout. But I'm just going to stencil all the way around the edge using the same color of ink, and I'm giving it quite a bit of pressure just so that you can see it since it's the same color. But even stenciling over the other blots, it shows up pretty well. So I'm pretty sure the original layout had this same stencil work on it that I'm about to put on mine, and since I actually owned this stencil, I went ahead and brought it out and I'm going to use it. I have never used this stencil. It was still in its original packaging, so it's nice to open up a new stencil and get it used. So because I can't leave well enough alone, I decided to bring out my Lost Shadow Distress Oxide. I know that many people were not crazy about this color coming out, but I'm going to tell you that I actually really love this beautiful light gray in this ink pad, and I'm going to use it to kind of bring some more of that smushing around the edges. And again, I'm not putting a lot of pressure with that packaging. I'm just kind of adding a little bit of color and just blotting it around the edge. And I really like how it kind of gives it a creamy, chalky look. It's just a great color. So here are some close-up photos of what my background looks like. I feel like when you take pictures of a background like this as a whole, you can't really see all the little details, and so I thought I'd share these as well. So I went ahead and I matted my photo on some craft cardstock, and I created my tags, and I added the little circle centerpiece on them. I did end up using my Cameo instead of tracing and cutting them out by hand. I measured them and decided that they were large enough scraps that my Cameo would work well enough. Sometimes my Cameo will not handle scraps as well as I would like it to. Maybe a me issue, who knows. I also did some fussy cutting. I fussy cut that little piece that I'm tucking underneath my photo of Jasper from one of those cut aparts, and I also fussy cut like 2 or 3 of the letters or the leaves from that pattern paper, and I fussy cut some butterflies from one of the cut aparts as well. I adhered my title, Adore. It was a sticker, and I adhered it on white cardstock so it would be easier to put some fun foam on the back of it to pop it up and give it some dimension. Oops, I almost forgot that tag, so glad that I realized that I did, and I got it tucked under there, and I'm going to go ahead and tie these little bows. Miss Kimberly asked for a tutorial, and hopefully she can see what I'm doing there. I do tie 3 of those on camera for you, so hopefully you can see what I'm doing. I'm just making 2 bunny ears and tying them, just like you tell your children to tie their shoes. Actually, that's not how I taught my kids to tie their shoes, but I know that some do. Anyway, easy peasy, great way to tie bows for tags and stuff. Now I will adhere those bows with a glue dot. I like glue dots. I use them quite often, and for something like this, they are perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and add my journaling on camera right here. I'm not going to put a whole lot, just talking about how much everybody loves this kitty cat. He is a rotten little kitty. He gets treats and toys and cuddled and dragged around the house. He sleeps tucked up underneath my arm, and he's just spoiled rotten. So very easy to journal about. I am going to draw some lines under each of my sentences or my phrases, and that is going to be it for the journaling. So here's where you see me add the bows on there. I put the glue dot on it and then just tuck them on there. I'm also going to put a foam dot under each of those butterflies and plop them down where they belong as well. So the original layout also had some splatters in it, so I'm going to cover up my photo here, and I'm going to add some splatters and some colors that I didn't use with the other inks. I'm going to use a charcoal gray from Prima, and then I'm going to use Fired Brick, and I think it's called Wildflower Honey or something like that. Both of those are Distress Oxide inks, and I'm just going to make a great big mess, and I'm going to splatter all the way around the perimeter of my layout, kind of similar to the way the original layout is done as well. As I finish up the details of this layout, I want to stop and thank you for stopping by my channel today. I know that you can get inspiration anywhere, so I really appreciate my subscribers and those who comment on my layouts. If you have a question or a comment about my layout, just drop it below and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Also, make sure you check that description box below. There's no collaborative playlist for this group, but there will be links to everybody else's YouTube channels who is playing along, and I'm sure that you will see some really good stuff. So make sure you check out those links for the rest of the hop. You have a great Friday. Bye.